Hi, everyone, and welcome to Main Street's Swim with Jim. This is Jim Ludwig, the founder of Main Street Financial Planning. And our interview show today has one of our returning guests. He's Jim Blankenship from Blankenship Financial Planning in New Berlin. Oh, I got to get this right, Jim. Illinois, 4 hours south of Chicago, an hour north of St. Louis.
There you go.
He is the author of the Social Security Owner's Manual, fourth edition. So you know it's been around a while. And our topic today are big mistakes people make concerning Social Security. Jim, how are you?
Doing very well. How are you, Jim?
Excellent. I am broadcasting remote today. And Social Security has always been a major set of questions for our clients. You wrote a great book that continues to sell, the Social Security Owner's Manual. I just looked it up. I bought a copy 2 months ago myself because I wanted to get the latest edition. And I thought today we talk about big mistakes. One of the big mistakes that I think a lot of us planners see are divorced people that don't understand their Social Security benefit. What's that big mistake they make?
One of the biggest mistakes that divorcees make is that they don't realize that they have some benefits available to them based upon their previous marriage, if that marriage lasted for at least 10 years. And so many times, without realizing it, they forego receiving benefits that could be a significant increase to the benefit based upon their own record. Incidentally, this is a lot of what my most recent book was about, which is Social Security for the Suddenly Single. And it's all about divorcee Social Security benefits. One of those items that folks overlook is the spousal benefit, which is 50% of the other spouse's full benefit. And this, in some cases, if the divorcee has not worked a lot or has had a lower income during their working years, this spousal benefit can be a great boon to them to increase their benefit up to a level of 50% of the previous, their ex-spouse's benefit. And then, of course, upon the death of the ex, the divorcee who has been married for 10 years or longer and is not remarried prior to age 60 is eligible for a survivor benefit based upon the ex-spouse's record. So it can be huge, and it is something that many divorcees overlook.
Wow. That I've seen that a few times. You always fail to realize that survivor benefit can be quite large.
Yes, very significant. It can be as much as the full benefit that the ex-spouse was receiving upon their death.
Wow. Well, another mistake that comes up frequently, and I read about it in your book, is taking a benefit before your full retirement age, which some people 66, some people 67, and some people a few months in between 66 or 67. And there's something called an earnings test. What kind of mistake is that?
Right. So what happens is that if you've started your benefits prior to full retirement age and you're still working, earning wage income or self-employment income, there is a excuse me, there's a limit to the amount of income that you can receive before it starts impacting your Social Security benefit. And this year, the limit is, I believe, $17,040 for the 12-month period. And so if you have earned over that amount, for every $2 over that amount, you give back $1 of Social Security benefits. And so there are a few things that can be done if you have started this benefit early and you realize that it's a mistake because you're giving back an awful lot of your benefits. The first is that if you catch this error, this situation before 12 months have passed since you filed, you can go back to Social Security and say, I want to rescind my filing, and it will cost you something. You would have to pay back the benefits that you've received at that point. But by doing so, you have actually reset your benefits such that it looks like you've never filed ever before. And so once in your lifetime, you can do this, and it has to be within that first 12 months. But once you do that, you can then choose to file again at any point in the future. So, for example, if you started at age 62 and you really were going to go ahead and work until you were 65, you could, if you caught it within that first 12 months, you could resend, put the money back at Social Security, and then wait and refile again when you retire at age 65, or even delay out to age 66 or later on. The second thing that can happen, if you have not caught it before that first 12 months, or if you're not in a position to be able to pay back, say, 9 months worth of benefits, it can be a substantial amount of money to try and come up with. The second thing is that you can just let the earnings clawback happen on its own, such that they, as you earn more than that $17,000, they'll start withholding your benefits. And then later on, once you reach full retirement age, your benefits will be re-projected or reset, recalculated to account for those months that you didn't receive benefits. So, for example, if, like we were talking about before, age 62, you started your benefits, but it turns out that for the coming 3 years, you earned so much that they actually withheld all of your benefit. Well, what happens is when you reach full retirement age, say it's age 66, if you have had 3 years worth of benefits withheld, they'll recalculate your benefit as if you had filed at age 65 at that point, because you had 3 years worth of benefits withheld. So of course that would bump up your benefit amount, and going forward you would have the larger benefit available.
Well, that at least that's some getting almost back to square one. It's not totally, but at least people would get some satisfaction out of seeing their earnings and the taxes they paid come back to them as an increased benefit.
Right. That's it's not a dollar for dollar give back. Of course, you're not getting back every single dollar beginning at your full retirement age, but with your set, as long as you live for a few years past that, it will eventually catch up to a point where you've been made whole for the benefits that were withheld throughout that period. And actually, you'll be better off in the long run if you live to, say, average actuarial lifetime around 81, 82 years of age.
Okay.
So that's the first two. There's one other option that you can choose if even after you've had a reset of benefits at your full retirement age, you have the opportunity to actually suspend your benefits. If you've decided that you've not that you don't really need the benefit, you thought when you filed at age 62 that you really needed those benefits, and it turned out, you went ahead and worked, or maybe it was maybe you're self-employed and your business was doing better than what you had anticipated it to be doing. you can actually suspend your benefits and cause it to begin accruing delay credits. You have to wait until your age 60 or your full retirement age. It would be 66 for someone this year. But then you can suspend and delay as much as out to age 70, accruing 8% per year in increases for every year that you delay.
Well, that's a 32% increase if you wait till age 70. So
That's correct.
pretty good. Well, let's go back to the survivor benefit and what happens when someone thinks, well, I've got a better work benefit than a survivor benefit, so I'm just going to ignore that. Is that a mistake?
Yes, definitely it is, because many Social Security benefits, or most common Social Security benefits, which would be your own benefit and a spousal benefit, they're coupled together. And if you have chosen to file for one, then you automatically file for the other one, especially prior to full retirement age. And it actually, these days, it's always that way, unless if you are in a special set of circumstances, which really gets very complicated and we don't have time for today. But at any rate, the survivor benefit is decoupled from the retirement benefit. And so if you have a survivor benefit available to you and you're age 60 or older, but your own benefit based on your own record is going to be something larger, then it could make good sense for you to start receiving that survivor benefit as early as possible, say at age 60 or 61, and receive that out to the point you have delayed your own benefit and increased it up to the amount that you, the larger amount. So of course, by starting your own benefit, if you started it earlier, you'd receive a reduction to benefits. What you're doing in this case is you're receiving a survivor benefit. Maybe it's half of what you would normally receive based upon your own record. At least you're receiving something, and then the interim, your own benefit is increasing as the years pass by. You get a roughly 7 to 8% increase between age 62 and 66. And then from age 66, as I said, up to age 70, it's an 8% per year of delay increase. So it can be a very significant item to help you get through those intervening years.
Well, in the time we have left, I wanted to ask you if you've seen any other egregious mistakes. One that comes to my mind is a professor that came to see me at age 73 that forgot to claim his Social Security. That was one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen. He did get some money, not all of it, but what does any other kind of experience come to mind that you could share?
Well, that kind of an error is really, as you say, an egregious situation, because what happens for that particular individual is they have completely foregone their benefits other than the prior 6 months. Social Security allows you to retroactively file 6 months in arrears. So if you've completely forgotten for a period of time that is greater than 6 months past a particular filing date, then you've just lost it. One that I have seen here recently was a widow that thought she would automatically begin receiving survivor benefits upon the death of her spouse. It's not an automatic thing. You do need to go out and file for it. You have to specifically ask for it. You know, it's not like there's a lot of proof that you have to provide or anything along those lines. It depends upon the circumstances, but you may need to provide a notarized copy of a marriage certificate just to make clear that you were married to your late spouse. But you're just giving benefits away or leaving them on the table if you don't go ahead and file for that. So That's one that comes to mind of recent. So.
Well, we appreciate you sharing all these mistakes and ways to avoid them, Jim. And tell us about your new book. What was the name of that?
It's called Social Security for the Suddenly Single. And this is all about divorcee Social Security benefits. The reason that I wrote it is because I couldn't dedicate enough space in my Social Security owner's manual to all of the various different situations that divorcees face with regard to Social Security benefits. And there was a complete dearth of knowledge and written information out in the world about Social Security for divorcees. So it's a very small book. It's I don't recall, maybe around 100 pages, something like that, but it is very laser focused on Social Security benefits for divorcees.
Well, I hope our viewers will, if they see the need or they know someone else that has the need, they'll get it for them as a gift. We want to thank you, Jim, for visiting with us today. Jim Blankenship, Blankenship Financial Planning, the author of the Social Security Owner's Manual and Social Security for the Suddenly Single. And so you can get that book at Amazon or find their way to your website. I know
yes.
you do a lot of Twitter, and I appreciate all your postings there. And I want to thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Jim.
This has been Main Street's Swim with Jim Ludwig, the founder of Main Street Financial Planning. Thank you, everybody, for joining our broadcast today. Make sure you read that book.